Lockout has finally been lifted. We're here. It's an 870 for me this week, and there were a few updates this morning. Not too many, but yeah, I suppose Gray for me got a bit of a bump. Thank goodness in the end. I think if I got the 40 post game, I think I would have taken that for sure over Willison or Fainu, and then I ended up doing a secondary loop there for Willison in number 6, and could take, well, a third loop, I should say, given I'd already looped White and Gray. Third one was Willison. He scored that try, and I took that there at 47. So I got an extra 7 points out of it, but yeah, it's funny, if he had been given that update, I probably wouldn't have taken it. I still think I could have attempted to maybe put the Willison in 6 and see what happens, but it would have been playing with fire with quick changes in loops and stuff like that with Teddy in the starting side. But anyway, we had some good scorers overall in the side. We had some pretty poor ones as well. So the whole South Storm game really cooked me a little bit, apart from Jerome Hughes there. We had Cooks 41, Colin Matungi's 26, who ended up going up 4 points overnight. This morning anyway. I had the finish of Greg Marzu with 28. We had Starling's 34, who's actually surprisingly not like 100% owned. He's about 60 or so, or a little bit less than that in the top sort of 1,000, top 5,000 there. Garrick, Drinkwater, and Carraz all going 40 and below. Wasn't super ideal, but as I said, like Plath kind of carried the way for me with Galvin there, 66 and an 83, and then Hughes and Cotter both with 55 and 58 really helped me out there. Just to not lose too many ranks. I was 232 last week at the end of round 22 and ended up here 264th overall with that 870. So not the worst in the world. We were able to score pretty well still with those problems in the side, and then have missing out on Teddy and Watson here in round 23, and hopefully they can both come in and score really well in next week. But it's always good to get some loopers in the side, and if not, I would have missed out on a couple of points, but not a crazy amount there this week compared to what I was able to do last week with loopers in that one there. So let's move to the rankings and see where everyone is at in the top 10 there. So Pete, Ethical Fantasy Squad there, has moved back into first place with a mammoth 983 there. Kushla with 1,005, but unfortunately we lost Matty B, who was in first with an 810. So a bit of a tough one for him, even with Max Plath in the side. But Kushla, Kai, Christian, Sean, Riley, Jordan, Bevan in 9th still, and then drop 1 to 8th, whatever it was. And then Jacob in there at 10th. So yeah, you already got an idea of who's still leading the private group. It was Bevan with a 900 there. So really solid score from him. Made up a few ranks, I believe, on top spot, who obviously, everyone did basically, because he moved into 4th there. But Pete's up there at 19,827. I'm 600 points behind, guys, 601. So we're still a chance. And everyone's team value is really, really close, surprisingly. It's all high 13 mils into the early 14. So sort of 14.2 seems to be one of the top ones there with Pete's squad, and then a couple of 14 ones and 14 on the dot. So very, very interesting. And then Bev, if you're looking at a comparison there, is not too far away. It's only 157 points behind first, but it is 4 rounds. And I suppose, guys, it is very easy to see that you can catch up comfortably, because Kushler has been a top spot for a while now, but hasn't been this high in a little while. And 1,005 here made up, a few spots, so 20 points on Pete, but 1,005 there with Matt getting 810 made up 200 points on first, which is absolutely incredible how that can play out. So easily that Bevan and anyone else in this top 10, top 20 could make up those points very, very quickly in 1 week or even a couple of weeks there, which is what happened with my team last week, but not so much in the one that just went. But in the JBFA fam crew, we all end up getting some good wins there. Ish and I did, which was awesome. Beat my brother by 4, and she beat Scoop by 12 there in the end. So congrats to Scoop for a 957 as well. Both you guys there had a cracking week in that one. And if we're looking at the ladder here, absolutely dominant performance by the two of us. We'll be meeting in the final in round 25. And I reckon Ish has fixed this one. She's obviously got Paddy in the side and Walshy. So they'll be back for the grand final for her, which is perfect. And it's going to be tough for me in that week. That means I'll have Cotter and I'll have Drinkwater out, which will be interesting. But a shout out to, as I said, Bev. We've got Liam in there. who's a decent amount behind Bevan now, 105, but in rank 24, which is an incredible effort. You got Mitch in there with a 941 into 38th. Shane still in the top 100 at 65th. Nikki with us in at 74th. And then Don at 77th. And then Richard in there in the top 100, rounding that out with Hayden there at 99. So we actually have 8 in that top 100. Unfortunately for these guys, just outside there, Jack, Max, and John are all fairly close, but doing some cracking work. And I think Anthony's been on an absolute tear in recent history. Yeah, pushed ahead of me now. Anthony, congrats to you on that one. And you've been in the DMs cheering us both on, and we're both doing really well week to week. You had another good one there, and I'd just fallen behind you, unfortunately, there. So congrats to you pushing ahead on that one. But to have eight of our boys in the top 100 is absolutely incredible. So very, very proud of that one. And hopefully that can just continue to grow over the next bunch of years as the private group does continue to grow as well. Shout out to Riley, Bevan, Jacob, Christian, and Marcus in the top 5 there. Riley is 36 points ahead of Bevan right now and is in line to win a private group subscription for next year, which is good fun. And then moving on to some of my head-to-heads, I did lose against Brad, who's had an absolutely cracking season there. So that was in the grand final. No, that was in the semi-final, so that's tough there. But Brad and Nikki having cracking seasons there. Nikki in that top 100, which is cool. And the other two there, I got the win in my seeded league, but I think that was in the qualifying final. But qualifying final of the losers, the guys in the bottom 8 there, unfortunately for myself. Anywho, moving on to Cowboys, 17th I am overall in that, which is cool. So, yeah, pretty solid effort. I'm happy with that. And then still first in the Podcasters League. So it was only a small loss in points there to Daniel in second. A few of the other guys below. Obviously, Lucy had a bit of a tough one. Yeah, Nick with a 990 was a massive move into 4th spot. But 4 of us in the top 1,000. Austin with an 863, so very close to me there. And then a few below. No one absolutely crushed it. You had Scoop there that had kind of the best score of the round at 957 behind that of Nick there with 990. So there you go, 264, 482 for Daniel, 681 for Lucy, 693 for Nick there, and 760 for Stuart, Mr. Lord on the boom or bust. So there you go. We're still in the lead. Got 100 points in the bag, which is good fun. Okay, now my team. What do we do this week? That's the big question. We have Willison on bye. Let's move it forward to that. Sweet. Willison's on bye. We do have the Souths playing the Tigers again this week, which is awesome. So I only played them like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and they come up against them again on Saturday evening at 7:35. So I'm very much hoping that Jai Gray passed his HIA that he got in the last 2.5 minutes. And if he does, we'll be looking to play him and hopefully get a good score out of it. Although last time he played Tigers, he didn't go that well. So hopefully that can be a bit of a bounce back, because the 2 weeks since then, he's had some cracking scores. We need to wait on Colin Matangi too. Hopefully he's all good with his quad issue, the cork that he had. And if that's the case, hopefully he can score well. If we can get it some... unfortunately, we're not goal kicking anymore from Cook, but he scored really well against the Tigers last time. And hopefully that can happen again. So that's a good little option there. White and hopefully some try assists and the like there in that one too. But we do get Teddy and Watson back, which is nice. Hopefully a bounce back from Starling. Galvin keeps doing good things, but at least have one looper there. With Willison, do I make a trade this week is the question. I think someone like Greg Marzu, given he plays in the last game, could be just we're going to loop around that and see what happens with his. Sean Blaw's an interesting one. I can get Sean Blaw to Kalen Ponga with that 77k I've got in the bank. If I do make that one trade for the week there, it leaves me with 2 for the last 3 weeks, which I think is pretty fair. Next week, with the Cowboys on bye, I do have 2 out with Drinkwater and Cotter. So the other question is, do I wait? And there's potentially a couple of injuries this week or suspensions, and I'm able to use 2 in round 25 if that was needed to be, rather than using 1 this week and maybe only being able to use 1 next week. So that's probably the question I've got to ask is, do I want to make that big upgrade this week? Or do I wait until maybe injuries come? But they might not as well. So this week I probably, in hindsight, obviously should have made the Blaw to Ponga trade. That would have got me near a 900 score this week, which would have been cool. But outside of that, no one is really a glaring issue. Not super happy with Drinky this week. With Garrick, obviously. Karaz, a little bit low, but these guys all have their bounce back games. Probably Blaw's the one that I was going to say doesn't have the big score, but he does have a 72 in him, but that was a 1 in a million, it looks like, the way things are playing out for him and that team at the moment. And they also come up against the Panthers this week. So I'm not expecting a massive score at all from Blore. So it might just be the week that I do move on from him and go to Ponga with the upside. So that's generally where I'm looking at with my side at the moment. We'll find out lots more information tomorrow with team lists and hopefully learn about Gray and everything like that. And go from there basically. So let's move to SuperCoach now. And it's just been a slow process. I end up using another 2 trades. I did move up 104 spots. I'm in at 2,345, and I just need to get in that top 2,000. That's all we need to get to. But with 5 trades left, I think we should still be able to. And I didn't have Ponga this week, and I have Turbo, but didn't captain him. They were kind of the a couple of the lower ones, and I kind of stuffed up a little bit, unfortunately, with playing Casey McLean over Curran or Osako, who were holding some injuries there. That was kind of where they were at. So it cost me about 40 points, which is not the end of the world, but yeah, it could have been a little bit better there. Then the 21, obviously, but it's some low scores, and that final game cooked me as well, unfortunately. So decided to play, I should say, Brayley there with Watson out, and had 28 from him, and then Greg Marzu with a 38. So that was tough there on that front. All the other guys did well, like having Plath was great. Brought in Carrigan this week. He was a good trade-in. Iro's been awesome. Garrick, Fanua Blake, they're all fine. But you've got there, Willison, Curran, and Osako, and Smithies as well, surprisingly enough, all with 55+ scores, which, just not getting it perfect at the moment, but that's how it goes when you actually have to decide and you can't loop. So it's probably the only kind of loss that, the loss that SuperCoach has compared to fantasy with that looping scenario is obviously we've got 25 players to select from here. There's so many guys that can do well, and you get your lowest score if you're trying to loop, if you are looping. So that's that there. But Cleary's captain ended up fine, obviously with an 86 there for him. Joe Tarpany as well was the other trade in. So Tarpany and Carrigan both went 80+, which was great. So they kind of helped me get some green arrows, and hopefully missing obviously Crichton, Tedesco, and Watson this week. They come in and they can score really well for me, and I'll decide if I actually want to make a trade or not, because right now I'm currently unsure. With those guys coming back in, I've just got Carrigan, who I brought in, who's going to sit out, and if I want to, I could sit out guys like Osako, McLean there, Kaipis Paul, Brayley, and obviously Hughes there in that one. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I've got 83k in the bank as well. Maybe it's a single trade rather than a double this week, but Podmaster overall I'd stayed exactly the same, 29th out of 97. So hopefully we can continue moving on and forward in that one. And just a quick check on where the guys are at. Mark is actually sitting in second. He didn't move at all. It's an incredible season from Mark there. You've got Luke, David, and Brandon all gaining ranks this week, but they all stayed in their exact same spot, I should say, with Luke with a 13.06, David a 13.12, Brandon a 13.59. So all good efforts there. And are these guys going to be able to catch up to Marky Boy, the Barnstormers? Look at how crazy the points difference is there. Wow. So Mark's at 27,901. And then Luke's in 22nd. So 22nd compared to second is almost 400 points. That is wild. And then these boys are within 18 points of each other, is 4 ranks. And then there's another big drop of 350 points to Andrew there in 158th. So yeah, that's pretty wild how many extra points you need to actually get up there and win SuperCoach. So yeah, congrats to those guys with where they're at. And then all the other guys in the top 1,000 there. You're doing awesome work. You got Sangster in there, 1,700 overall. You've got NRL Physio in there at 2,100. Maxi Bryden, Brainball. Myself there, 29th. So who am I ahead of? Billy Armies. Got a 12.06. So yeah, could have been better for me this week. Wasn't to be, but that is that. And then shout out to Private Group Crew. We got both Matthew and Matt up top there. And then John outdid me this week and passed me, moved me from 3rd down to 4th in that one there. But everyone making ranks at the top of that list, which was good. Head-to-head team, I actually didn't make any trades this week, so I left it there. 5,100 overall. We'll use those last trades this week, or close to it, the next couple, and have a bit of fun with it. But let's move to the NRL Fantasy head-to-head team to finish. It ended up being a fun week. 923 was where we're at. We improved our overall rank, but the 923, we know that means likely to be some wins in our head-to-heads, which we'll go in and check out very, very shortly. But The only kind of problems in here this week was Reed Marnie's 28, Colin Matungi's 26, and then it turned out it wasn't too bad for Campbell in the end. He got an extra 4 points, but 39 for him, a little bit low. Garrick, Drinkwater. It was great to see Nikora back in the winner's circle with the 56. Brought in Pat Carrigan this week for a 66. That was cool. Keeping Cotter was awesome. Having Plath was great. Bringing in Ponga. So Carrigan and Ponga were the 2 trade-ins this week to help me get over the line in a lot of the head-to-heads. Keeping Galvin was good, a 51 from Maddo. And then, taking Whiten's 46. It was funny, Talangi, at one point, I could have worked out a way to loop him and put Teddy, obviously, in wing fullback and go from there. But Talangi was on like 43 or 45 or whatever it was with like 20 to go or 15 to go and ended up on 40, which was wild. So I didn't end up having to take him over Whiten with just the one looper that I had. And then coming into this week, we just have the Carrigan on the bye, which was my whole point. I thought Carrigan would be the best scorer to buy, and obviously, and then he was going to miss this week coming up, and I'd use him as a looper. So it's worked out really well. I've got the rest of the squad available, ready to go, and still have 3 trades left, which is fine. 63k in the bank. And now let's check out how I went in my league. So the whole point of this was to be peaking at the right time. And Gagarov, I'm still in 12th, and that cooks me. I'm just in the bottom. Did I make it to the bottom 8? Yeah. Prelim final. I think I'm in the bottom 8, aren't I? How that works. Yeah. So I came 12th, but I'm in the bottom section. Anyway, moving along on that one there. But the guys that matter there, we got 923 in the King's Cup. So that was the prelim. Is that right? Yeah. Qualifying final. I was in the bottom part of that, so I had to win that one, and I got the win coming from 6. That was nice. I had a bye there in the League of Legends. I think it's just an overall rank, is it? No, scratch that. Work it out when it comes. But got a win in Liam's league, which is good. Got a loss, unfortunately, but that was in the prelim. Yeah, so I have to play again this week, which is fine. Not the end of the world. Should be sweet on that one, but a good 944 against me, so tough times there. In the Amateurs League, got a win in that one, so that was the first week. So I pushed through the semi-final, which is good. Happy with that on that one. And then I won the Sweat Lobby as well. So that one there was the prelim, so I just get straight through to the next level, which is good. Happy as with that. 4 teams go straight through the prelim. That's why that makes more sense. So the top 2 are for the top league, and the bottom 2 are for the bottom 8 league, which is cool. That's why there's so many semi-finals this week with all those qualifying finals going down. There you go. Good stuff on that front. That's the head-to-head side. I suppose we probably need to look at potentially trades or anything like that, but I think looping this week would be pretty cool. Trades we could do. All right, who would we need to look at? It'd be like a Sipley to someone 500k. It'd be Talangi to go up a little bit. Could be like a Drinkwater with him going to be out next week. Could be a little, an upgrade from that one. It's a bit cheeky. Yeah, it's interesting. Campbell with Teddy coming back. If I'm holding Talangi as like backup, I've got Howarth in there. If I think Campbell's going to be on a bit of a slide for the next bit, it can upgrade him to a, Isaiah Yo, like things like that. Would that fit? No, he's not that. Here's me thinking he's that cheap, eh? 777, nah, we're a bit short of that. But there'll be guys at 740. Tarpanay, Preston, these types of guys you could get for Campbell, and is that worth it as well? So they're all question marks as well. It's a long shot, but something to ponder anyway with where we're at right now, heading into the important parts of the season. We could just wait one more week, but we do have a few head-to-heads there that are do or die. So we'll see how that one goes throughout the week, and obviously with team lists, and we'll go from there. But thank you to everyone here for being here for the round results video. You're all legends, as I say, each and every time, for watching and taking some type of interest in what I've got to say. You're all the best, and I hope you guys did pretty well this week. Let me know what you got in the comments and how many trades you got left.